Hello students, welcome to the lecture series on VLSI design. This is Professor Meenakshi Thotse, Department of ECE, KLS VTIT, Hadia. So in previous lecture, we discussed regarding the pseudostatic RAM. So pseudostatic RAM uses two NOT gates connected back to back, which acts as an memory cell. And since it is static RAM, it can hold data for longer duration. And we discussed two versions of pseudostatic RAM, that is NMOS and CMOS version with its stick diagram. So outline for today's lecture. So first we'll study the working of a 4T DRAM cell, and then we'll understand the working of a 60 SRAM cell. So let us begin with the first topic, 4T DRAM, 4 transistor dynamic random access memory. So this DRAM architecture uses 4 transistors to store 1 bit of information, whereas 3T DRAM uses 3 transistors to store 1 bit of information, and similarly 1T DRAM uses 1 transistor to store 1 bit of information. So in 4T DRAM, we need 4 transistors to store 1 bit of information. So T1, T2, T3 and T4. So these 4 transistors will store 1 bit of information. So we have two bus lines, bit and bit bar. So when you perform write operation, so these bus lines will act as input line, and when you perform read operation, so these bus lines will act as output line. So let us begin with the write operation. So before performing write operation and read operation, both bit and bit bar lines should be charged to VDD. Both bit and bit bar lines should be at VDD. So if you make a precharge as 1, precharge bar will be 0. 0 is fed as input to T5 and T6 transistor, which are PMOS transistors. So 0 is fed to T5 and T6 transistors. These transistors will turn on, and hence this VDD will be available on bit line. Similarly, T6 is also on, so VDD will be available on bit bar. So both bit and bit bar charged to VDD via T5 and T6 transistors. So let us assume you want to store logic 1 and logic 0 in this memory cell. So via this bus, we'll be writing logic 1, and input output bar bus will be at logic 0. So to perform write operation, that is to store the data in the memory cell, row select is made 1, RS equals to 1. Since row select is 1, row select is connected to gate of T3 and T4. Row select is 1, so T3 and T4 will be on state. Column select is 1, hence T7 and T8 transistor will be on. So since T7 transistor is on, the logic level on input output bus will be available on bit line now. So input output bus is at logic 1, so this logic 1 will be available on bit line. So bit line, before performing write operation, it was charged to VDD. So your input is also logic 1, hence this bit line will remain at logic 1, that is VDD. And T8 transistor is also on because column select is 1. Hence, the logic level on input output bar bus will be available on bit bar line. So input output bar bus is at logic 0. So this logic 0 will be available on bit bar. So before performing write operation, bit bar and bit line both were at VDD. But now bit bar will discharge to 0 because the logic level on bus is 0. So now bit line is at 1, bit bar line is at 0. So T3 transistor is on because row select is 1. Hence logic level on bit line is written on gate capacitance of T2 transistor. So Cg2 capacitance will be charged to VDD. That is, it will be holding logic 1 value. And T4 transistor is also on because row select was 1. And hence logic level on bit bar line, that is 0, will be stored on gate capacitance of T1 transistor. So Cg1 will hold 0, Cg2 will be holding 1. Thus the logic levels on bit and bit bar line are written into the memory cell. So now we'll see how we can read the information stored in this memory cell. So as discussed in the previous slide, Cg1 is holding 0, that is bit bar value, and Cg2 is holding bit line value, that is logic 1. Cg2 is holding logic 1, Cg1 is holding logic 0. So again, before reading the data from memory cell, both bit and bit bar lines should be charged to VDD. So how we are going to charge it to VDD? Via T5 and T6 transistors. If pre-charge is at logic 1, so 1 bar 0. 0 is fed to gate of T5 and T6 transistor. So both T5 and T6 are on. Hence this VDD at T5 transistor will be now available on bit line. Similarly, bit bar will also be at VDD because T6 transistor is on. Hence both bit and bit bar are charged to VDD via T5 and T6 transistors. So now to read the data stored in the memory cell, again row select line should be made 1, column select line should be made 1. So RS1, CS1. So if we make row select as 1, these T3 and T4 transistors will turn on because these are NMOS transistors. And if you make column select 1, again T7 and T8 transistors will be on. And Cg2 was holding logic 1, hence this T2 transistor will be in on state. And Cg1 was holding 0, hence T1 transistor will be in off state. So T2 is on, T4 is on, hence this bit bar line which was charged to VDD will now discharge via T4 and T2 transistors to ground. And T3 is on, T1 is off. Hence it is a floating state for bit line. It will never get connected to ground. Hence bit line was charged to VDD before performing read operation. So it will remain at VDD. So bit line will have VDD, bit bar line will have 0. And these logic levels will be available on bus because T7 and T8 are 1. So this output bus will have logic 1, that is bit line state, and bit bar state is 0. So input output bus bar will have 0. Hence data written in the memory cell is retrieved on this bus lines. So let me repeat, first both bit and bit bar should be charged to VDD, which happens via T5 and T6 transistors because these will be on if you give pre-charge as 1. So to read the stored information from memory cell, make row select 1, T3, T4 on, make column select 1, T7, T8 on. So when we performed write operation, Cg2 was holding logic 1 and Cg1 was holding logic 0. Cg1 is 0, so T1 is off, Cg2 is 1, so T2 is on. Both bit and bit bar were charged to VDD. So since T2 and T4 both are on, bit bar which was at VDD will now discharge to ground via T4 and T2 transistor, whereas bit line will remain at VDD itself. So this is how we can retrieve the data stored in the memory cell by making row select 1, column select 1. So next we'll go through 60 SRAM cell. So the main disadvantage with the DRAM cell is it cannot hold the data for long duration. Hence we need to apply frequent refresh cycles. So in order to store data indefinitely, we need to use SRAM cell. So in this SRAM cell, it uses 6 transistors to store 1 bit of information, whereas DRAM uses less number of transistors to store 1 bit of information. So with DRAM, we can have higher storage capacity, whereas with SRAM, we'll have low storage capacity. So 60 SRAM uses 6 transistors, T5, T6, 2 inverters, 4 transistors. So totally 6 transistors to store 1 bit of information. So here we have used a gate level inverters. So in the next figure, we have replaced gate level inverters with a transistor level inverters. So now let us analyze write operation and read operation. So before performing write operation, both these bit and bit bar lines should be charged to VDD. So if precharge is 1, precharge bar will be 0. 0 is given to T7 and T8 transistors. These are PMOS. Hence T7 and T8 will turn on, and hence both bit and bit bar will be at VDD. So now to write the data in the memory cell, that is to store the data in the memory cell, row select is made 1, column select is made 1. Since row select is 1, T5 and T6 will be on, and column select is 1, so T9 and T9 and T10 will be on. And during write operation, these bus lines will act as input line, and during read operation, these will act as output bus. So now let us assume the logic level on input bus is 1 and the logic level on input bar bus is 0, and these logic levels have to be stored in the 60 memory cell. Row select is 1, so T5, T6 are on. Column select is 1, so T9, T10 are on. So since T9 is on, logic 1 on this input bus is now available on bit line, and logic level on input output bar bus, that is 0, is available on bit bar line. Please note, before these logic levels, both these bit and bit bar were at VDD. Now it is at logic 1 on bit line and 0 on bit bar line. Since T5 transistor is on, logic level on bit line, that is logic 1, is stored on gate capacitance of inverter 1. And since T6 transistor is on, logic level on bit bar, that is 0, is stored on gate capacitance of inverter 2. So CG1 is holding 0, CG2 is holding logic 1. Thus the logic levels are written in the memory cell. So now let us analyze the read operation. So again, before performing read operation, that is retrieving the logic levels from memory cell, both bit and bit bar lines should be charged to VDD, and they will be charged to VDD via T7 and T8 transistors. If precharge is 1, precharge bar 0, 0 is fed as gate input to T7 and T8. Hence T7, T8 are on. Hence bit line will be connected to VDD, and bit bar line will also be connected to VDD because T8 is on. So both bit and bit bar are at VDD. So now to read the data from memory cell, row select is made 1, and since row select is 1, T6, T5 both are on. Column select is made 1, hence T9, T10 both these transistors are on. So CG2 was charged to VDD, or it was holding logic 1 when you performed write operation. That is, logic 1 is written in the memory cell that is stored in CG2, and logic 0 is stored in CG1. Since CG2, that is gate capacitance of inverter 1, CG2 is connected to gate of T3 and gate of T4. CG2 value is 1, so T4 is on, T3 is off because it is PMOS. CG1 is 0, which is connected to gate of T1, gate of T2. CG1 is 0, so T2 is off, T1 is on. So since T6 and T4, both these transistors are on, this bit line which was charged to VDD, now it will discharge to ground via T6 and T4 transistors. And bit line, since T5 and T1 transistors are on, so bit line will charge to VDD because T5 and T1 transistors are on. So bit line will have logic 1 and bit bar will have logic 0, and these values will be available on bus because T9 and T10 transistors are on. So output bus will be at logic 1, output bar bus will be at logic 0. So data stored in the memory cell is retrieved by making row select 1, column select 1. Thank you.